Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? After Meizhuang and Lingrong left, Tongli Palace became lively again. The excitement started with the emperor's generous and exquisite rewards entering my chambers one by one. Due to the emperor's involvement, this excitement far surpassed that of my initial entry into the palace. My sudden promotion and favor caused a huge stir and shock in the seemingly calm harem, arousing the curiosity of many idle people. Almost at the moment of my promotion, the story of Yu being demoted was quickly obscured like a dry leaf caught in turbulent waves, with few people caring about her existence anymore. The disappearance of Yu, who used to sing high praises when favored, didn't even stir a ripple. The curiosity of the people in the harem, along with their envy and jealousy, continuously flowed into my palace in the form of gifts and visits, overwhelming me. At dusk, the emperor finally decreed that, except for him and the imperial physician, I should close my doors and recuperate. I finally got some temporary peace. In this unfamiliar and brief hustle and bustle, filled with curiosity, hostility, and flattery, I made an important decision. I decided to accept the emperor's favor with the attitude of welcoming battle, dedicating my affection and admiration to him. I didn't know if this was a path full of dangers and thorns, but that sunny afternoon in Emperor Xuanling's smile opened another door for me, leading to a world full of temptations and splendid prosperity, one I had never encountered before. Despite being filled with the dangers and poisons among the beauty, I couldn't stop longing for it. That night, I stood in front of the mirror for a long time doing just one thing. Locking myself in the back hall, then lighting all the red candles in the room and looking at myself in the mirror. I put on my most beautiful clothes and most luxurious jewelry, then took them off one by one. I stared at my own youthful face and body in the mirror, suddenly doubting whether I wanted to live in silence like this, dying of old age in this deep and quiet palace. It reminded me of two idioms I once read in books: admiring one's own beauty in solitude, and feeling sorry for oneself in reflection. Xuanling's appearance made me suddenly fall in love with the beautiful verses about love in the Book of Songs and Yuefu. Even after I decided to suppress my longing for him thinking he was the Prince of Qinghe, I couldn't suppress my imagination. In my imagination, the protagonists of those beautiful love stories became him and me. During those days, I constantly wondered whether such imaginations would last my lifetime, becoming the only joy in my mundane life. Sometimes, I thought whether Wen Shichu's presumptuous proposal and this bright spring would become the only memories worth recalling and cherishing. I even thought, as Meizhuang said, whether relying on the emperor's power could bring a better future for my family, and whether my life could become more meaningful because of his perhaps thin or profound favor. I discovered some long dormant things in my body and appearance, and now I found they were stirring restlessly. Good, they thought the same as I did. Since I had made my decision, I wanted the best opening scene to step onto the battlefield of the harem step by step. I put on my clothes with utmost seriousness, and when I opened the door, my expression was no different from usual. I said to Xiao Lianzi, "Go to the Imperial Medical Bureau and invite Lord Wen." When Shichu arrived faster than ever before, I dismissed everyone else, leaving only Lu Zhu and Huan by. Seeing his eager expression, I knew he had heard about the matter. Matters of the palace, their rise and fall, honor and disgrace, are always the most swift-footed, spreading to every corner of the court, with even the tiniest cracks hiding warm rumors and gossip. I went straight to the point and said, "There's no escaping it." His expression dimmed instantly, but then reignited as he said, "I can plead with the emperor, stating that the young mistress's body is truly unfit to serve." I looked at him and said, "What if the emperor sends another imperial physician to treat me? My illness is only apparent due to the medication. Internally, I'm quite well. If this is discovered, do you and I and our entire families still want our heads?" He opened his mouth slightly but ultimately said nothing, his gaze as dull as a dead fish. I glanced at him and said indifferently, "Lord Wen, do you have any wise suggestions?" He remained silent for a moment, then stood up and bowed, saying, "Your servant will follow concubine Wan's orders." I spoke gently, "Lord Wen, you are too kind. I still need your support. Otherwise, with every step being a trap in the harem, it's truly like walking on thin ice." When Shichu said, I will not change my original intention and will protect the young mistress with all my might. I smiled and said, "That's good. Please cure my illness, Lord Huan, but not too quickly. Let's aim for a month. Then I will gradually reduce the dosage of the medicine and introduce some tonic at the right time. It shouldn't be a problem." Huan Bai saw him out and Lu Zhu said, "Miss, since you have intentions towards the emperor, why not recover sooner? Are you afraid that it would be too obvious and arouse suspicion?" I nodded. "That's one reason. More importantly, it's about the emperor's mindset. If my illness recovers too quickly, it might seem too eager. You must know that for men, the harder something is to obtain, the more they cherish and can't let go, especially for an emperor who has seen all kinds of women. If I were like any other woman, easily available at his whim, it would only satisfy him too soon and lose his interest in me. If it takes too long, firstly, the emperor's appetite might be spoiled from being strung along for too long. Secondly, time is of the essence in the competition for favor in the harem. If someone else takes the lead during this time, it would be too late for regrets." Lu Zhu nodded secretly. "I've taken note." I was curious. Why take note? Lu Zhu blushed and stammered. "When I get married in the future, I also want to learn these techniques for managing a husband." I laughed so hard I could barely breathe. "You silly girl, you're already thinking about having a husband at such a young age." Lu Zhu turned away and said, "Miss, how can you be like this? When someone confides in you, you just laugh at them." I managed to suppress my laughter and said, all right, I won't laugh at you. In the future, I will surely arrange a good match for you, fulfilling your long-held wish." The next day, the head of the Internal Affairs Department, Huang Guifan, personally brought a group of eunuchs and palace maids for me to choose from. Upon seeing me, he hurriedly kowtowed and said with a smile, "Wishing concubine Huan all the best." I smiled and said, "Eunuch Huang, you seem to have made a mistake. I am still in the position of a concubine, and should only be addressed as my lady, not your highness." Huang Guifan, caught off guard, chuckled awkwardly. "Look at my memory. However, in my heart, I feel that with the divine favor you enjoy, it's only a matter of time before you become your highness, so I took the liberty of congratulating you in advance." I replied with a smile, "I know you mean well, but others who don't know might think that after so many years as the head of the Internal Affairs Department, you still don't understand the rules. If someone were to seize upon this, it wouldn't be good for you, and it wouldn't be good for others to see me as presumptuous either." After I finished speaking, Huang Guifan hurriedly kowtowed again, saying, Yes, I will remember your teachings, my lady." I commanded Huang Guifan to rise. He stood with a bow, his face filled with a cautious and flattering smile, and said respectfully, "Your Highness, all these eunuchs and palace maids have been carefully selected, each one exceptional. Please choose 8 eunuchs and 6 palace maids." I glanced over the group of people below, carefully selecting a few who looked neat and honest and had agile movements. I said to Xiao Yunzi and Jin Shi, "These are the ones. Take them down and instruct them well." Seeing Xiao Yunzi lead the people away, Huang Guifan, with a placating smile, pointed to a small eunuch kneeling behind him and said, "I was negligent. Due to being busy with trivial matters in the Internal Affairs Department a few days ago, I assigned the task of varnishing the furniture for your palace to Xiao Luzi. Who would have known that this careless servant would completely forget about it? I have specifically brought him here to apologize to you, and I ask for your decision on how to handle this." Before I could respond, Pear, seeing the tassels hanging from the Rui scepter on my skirt being blown by the wind, crouched down to tidy them up for me, saying, "We dare not accept Eunuch Huang's apology. How could we bear it? Otherwise, we might hear things we shouldn't behind our backs, which would be very uncomfortable." I scolded, "You are becoming more and more unruly. What nonsense are you talking about?" Seeing me speak up, though I was visibly annoyed, Pear immediately fell silent and dared not say another word. Huang Guifan, embarrassed by Pear's retort, could only chuckle awkwardly and said, "Look at what Miss Pear is saying. It's all due to my failure to instruct my subordinates properly." I smiled and said, "Eunuch Huang, you're too serious. Managing the affairs of the Internal Affairs Department, you deal with at least 100 matters daily. It's understandable for your subordinates to overlook something occasionally. There's no need for apologies. It's just that my palace maids are inexperienced, which made you laugh. Huan Guifan secretly breathed a sigh of relief and said, Not at all. Thank you for your leniency, my lady. We will definitely be more diligent in serving you in the future. He added with a smile, We have brought a new table for you, and I hope you don't find it too simple. I nodded and said, Thank you for your thoughtfulness. You may go. Seeing that I had nothing more to say, Huan Guifan bid farewell. If concubine Huan has no further instructions, I shall take my leave now, wishing concubine Huan good health.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.